Welcome back to ZBCN Today. Right now, the entire Zebec community is buzzing because Zebec Network has just stepped into a completely different league, and the scale of this development is something most people still haven't fully processed. According to Zebec's official announcement, the company has partnered with NatPay, which is incredibly important because NatPay is currently the only payroll processor in the United States operating directly on FedNow, the instant payment system developed by the Federal Reserve. This immediately changes the conversation around blockchain payroll because we're not talking about experimental pilots or limited trials anymore. We're talking about real functioning financial infrastructure where stablecoins and traditional rails like ACH and DET, ISO 2022, operate together. NatPay already processes more than $170 billion every year for over 300,000 businesses, which means Zebec is no longer trying to break into the mainstream. They've directly plugged into it. And what stands out even more is how seamless this integration is. Companies don't have to introduce new dashboards, retrain their staff, or abandon older payroll systems. Thanks to Zebec's compatibility with existing Nacho workflows, employers simply continue using the same back-end processes they already trust, but instead of slow settlements or delays, the money reaches employees instantly. This is the type of quiet innovation that enters the world without noise, gets adopted because it's easier and cheaper, and suddenly becomes the new standard before anyone realizes what has happened. Everything shared in this video is for educational and informational purposes only. This is not financial advice. Always do your own research before making any investment decisions. During a recent X Spaces session hosted by Zebec and NatPay, both teams emphasized that this partnership merges Web3 programmability with the reliability and regulatory strength of traditional finance. This means businesses can adopt blockchain-powered payroll without worrying about compliance risks or operational complexity. And this brings up a much bigger question. How long will it take before companies across the U.S. completely abandon outdated 2-week payroll cycles in favor of real-time wage streaming, especially when it's not only faster and smoother, but also significantly more cost-efficient? My personal view is that adoption is going to accelerate far faster than most people predict. With more American banks joining FedNow every month and stablecoins gaining regulatory clarity in the U.S., instant payroll is about to move from a curiosity to a default option. According to Zachary Atkins, a well-known Zebec supporter holding 2.9 million ZBCN, the world is unavoidably shifting toward blockchain-native money movement. The global payroll industry, which is worth roughly $11 trillion, is full of inefficiencies, delays, and unnecessary middlemen. Real-time wage streaming solves many of these issues instantly, especially for gig workers, hourly employees, freelancers, DAOs, and global companies. Zebec is already working with Circle, maintaining high compliance standards like SOC 2 and MiCA, and positioning itself as one of the few blockchain projects that genuinely align with regulatory frameworks rather than running away from them. A particularly interesting narrative circulating online argues that real-time payroll could become one of the first mainstream Web3 applications that regular people will experience without knowing anything about crypto. Imagine a world where you don't get paid every 2 weeks. Instead, you get paid every minute your work is completed, and your earnings stream continuously into your wallet, instantly accessible, instantly settled, and fully compliant for your employer. For many workers, this would feel like stepping into a new financial era. And yet, while this massive shift in payments is happening, something equally explosive has emerged on the tokenomics side. According to data shared by ZBCN Man, CoinMarketCap updated Zebec's self-reported circulating supply, reducing it from 96 billion tokens down to around 76.37 billion, a drop of more than 20 billion tokens. This is a massive change and has led many in the community to believe that a huge portion of tokens may have been burned or moved to inaccessible wallets. If this reduction is accurate, it instantly increases the fully diluted valuation to around $298 million, creating an unofficial 25% value boost for holders purely from supply-side mechanics. Of course, the team has not yet issued an official clarification, but analysts on social media are already speculating about institutional positioning, locked allocations being reorganized, or even potential future partnerships, including some rumors mentioning Ripple, although that part remains completely unconfirmed. Still, deflationary movement combined with real, measurable utility becomes a recipe that long-term investors pay close attention to. Some traders claim the actual liquid supply, once you remove staking, long-term institutional allocations, and locked tokens, might be under 40 billion. If true, the current price of ZBCN may be significantly undervalued relative to its real-world adoption curve. And if all this wasn't enough, another major update resurfaced recently. Zebec and NatPay are integrating Dash's InstantSend technology into Zebec Silver and Carbon payment cards. This means Zebec card users will soon experience extremely fast crypto transactions, in many cases faster than the settlement speeds of some major blockchains. What's striking is how these announcements align. The FedNow Payroll integration, the supply update, and the Dash InstantSend upgrade all appearing within the same period, signaling that Zebec is clearly preparing for a larger, multi-layered expansion rather than building isolated features. Analysts observing Zebec note that the company behaves less like a typical Web3 startup and more like an infrastructure provider preparing for global scaling. We can see the same momentum reflected in the charts. According to technical insights by trader Kazim121, ZBCN is trading around 838 cents, showing targets near 0.039s and 0.58, while maintaining support levels near 925 and 1 Zandonid. A recent unlock of 1.04 billion tokens worth over $3.14 million increased volatility, but even after months of movement, including a nearly 298% surge earlier, the price structure has remained steady. That's unusual for a project undergoing so much change at once. On top of that, Zebec recently appeared in the top 10 Lunar Crush Galaxy score rankings, indicating strong social engagement and healthy price action. Historically, high Galaxy scores have correlated with improved performance over the following weeks. Even bigger speculation emerged after Captain Koga highlighted that Zebec previously teased a major ISO 2022 update. If this update truly materializes, and if Zebec becomes compliant with the global standard used by banks and financial institutions for structured payments, it could transform the project's positioning completely. It would mean Zebec becomes interoperable with enterprise banking systems across multiple countries, opening doors for international settlement and cross-border payroll automation. Whether or not that timeline is accurate remains unclear, but the idea itself shows how far Zebec is attempting to expand beyond the typical boundaries of Web3 projects. When you put all of these threads together, the FedNow integration, the supply restructuring, real-time payroll capabilities, Dash InstantSend, positive technical signals, rising market sentiment, and potential ISO 2022 alignment, it becomes obvious that Zebec is not moving like a niche player anymore. The company is positioning itself at the center of the intersection between blockchain, enterprise payroll, and financial communication standards. And while nothing in crypto is guaranteed, the foundation being built right now is incredibly strong, and unlike most other projects that rely purely on hype. The next few months will reveal how much of this momentum converts into real adoption, but at this rate, Zebec is marching toward mainstream relevance far faster than most expected. Thanks for watching ZBCN today. Stay tuned, stay informed, and I'll catch you in the next deep dive. And don't forget, like, share, and subscribe.